Hi, I'm here with Cushla Tangaere-Manuel, who is the new MP for Ikaroa-Rāwhiti. Kia ora, Cushla, and welcome.
Kia ora, Andrew. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Now, a few months ago, you were working for New Zealand Rugby. Now you're the MP for Ikaroa-Rāwhiti. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's still a bit surreal. It's still sinking in because we've had no downtime from the moment I was announced to today. So just, really grateful for the confidence people have showed in me.
Because you were thrown a bit of a curveball because Meka Whaitiri, who was your opponent, she defected from Labour to Te Pāti Māori, and so you only picked up the nomination for Labour quite late in the election campaign. Was that always going to be a challenge, or were you confident that you had the systems in place to be able to do the job?
I think what buoyed my confidence was the caliber of people who supported me. We had some people that were experienced public servants support me, and the level of confidence they had in me. So, when I commit to something, I'm all in, and I don't want to go into anything half-assed, so to speak. So once I committed, I knew that was going to be my life. For the short 3 months that we had. I think it was important too that my approach was to sort out my own backyard first, to make sure that when I went throughout Ikaroa-Rāwhiti, I did in fact have the support of my iwi. And I think, I haven't seen the breakdown of votes, but I know that a lot of people back here on the coast voted for the first time in their lives. So I really appreciate that.
Now, we had a video on the night of the election at Meka Whaitiri's sort of get-together that she had, with her on the phone to you conceding defeat, and it just went absolutely viral. What did that mean to you to get that phone call, and what did you say to her?
It was very humbling to receive, when I saw on the call ID that it was Meka. I was very humbled because it cannot have been an easy phone call for her to make after being the MP for 10 years. To be honest, what I said to her, obviously I'm humbled by this call, thank you very much. But I said, do you think it's a bit premature? Because at that stage, I think only about 75% of the votes had been counted. But she felt the time was right. And then what else I said to her after our call, I said, well, talk to my brother, because she and my brother have got quite a special relationship. So they had a cordial as well. And then he came back into the room and said, Meka had said to him, she couldn't have, if she was going to pass it on to anyone or concede to anyone, she, not happy for it to be me, but she couldn't think of a better person.
So why do you think the voters of Ikaroa-Rāwhiti chose you?
I think a couple of things. Number one, a lot of people do still support that seat as a Labour seat. And number two, I think it's because I did everything I said I would. I told people I'd come to their communities and I'd come back. So in that time, I traversed Ikaroa-Rāwhiti about 4 times. I think a lot of them do know me. They know what I'm like, and they appreciated the communication style, I think, which, got to keep up now. I think that's it. Yeah, that I did what I said I would do. And people had told me, they wanted someone who was visible, who was going to show up, listen, and follow through. And so that's what I did. And what I will keep doing.
Monday, on the plane to Parliament, and we're beginning of a big week, which we'll get to, but not probably the most celebratory week for the Labour Party, because you're one of the sort of few newcomers to Parliament and that. How was the mood down there when you walked into caucus for the first time, with Labour having basically been defeated in the election?
Well, first of all, when I walked in, I walked into rapturous applause, which was awesome. Awesome welcome, an awesome official welcome, so to speak, because I have felt welcomed by the Labour Party since my announcement. But obviously the mood turned very somber, Andrew. There were several farewells that day. So really sad. And I mean, obviously we've got work to do. We need to regroup. I'm actually going to propose that we sort of wānanga, maybe go onto a, get out of the Parliament and just wānanga as a unit about how we move forward and get back into power in 2026.
And so it's been a busy week because there's lots of orientation and that sort of thing. Just talk us through what you went through this week.
Yeah, it was exactly like orientation week at uni. Felt like we were enrolling in school. Very well done, actually. The induction process at Parliament is very thorough, and it was like speed dating. So you had finance, you had travel, IT, and the really good thing was by the end of each date, the process was complete. So our laptop, all our technology was up and ready to go. We had our security tags, etc. So really good. Also a great opportunity to be welcomed as as all the new MPs of all the different parties. So we've had an opportunity to sort of suss each other out and spend time, a little bit of time getting to know each other as humans with,
Yeah.
And one of the benefits of having such a huge electorate is that I knew most of the new MPs from all the other electorates, having seen them at different debates throughout Ikaroa-Rāwhiti. So that's been really good. So
Yeah.
hopefully we remember all these wonderful moments we had together when we were in chamber.
Absolutely. So you've still got a lot of work to do. You have to obviously find a place for yourself to stay in Wellington and then setting up offices in Ikaroa-Rāwhiti. I mean, that's massive. Are you going to have a number of offices? Or are you going to have sort of be mobile? What's your plan there?
So I'm still waiting to hear about budget, etc. Because, 1 minute your government, next, so budgets do change. And that was one of the hard things about being in Parliament this week was seeing the amount of staff. That's one thing that an MP goes, but the amount of staff who just have lost their jobs. So my intention is to have 3 offices. I'd like to have one in Gisborne, one in Hastings, and one in Wainui-o-Mata.
Yeah.
So that's the ideal, but I'm not sure what a budget allows, etc.
And what are you expecting? I know it's early days, and often people say that being a backbencher in the opposition party is sort of the lowest of the low kind of thing. What are you expecting to be able to achieve, and what are you expecting to be given to focus on?
Yeah, funny. So people have been talking about the advantages of being in opposition. Obviously I went in wanting to grow on the initiatives Labor had introduced. But it is an opportunity to sit back and learn about how the place runs. I got some really good advice, though. We all got some advice. People said, don't just sit there and be quiet, because that's sort of the old school advice. Just sit there for your first term and learn. But I think the people of Ikaroa-Rāwhiti would be disappointed if I just sat there nodding. In terms of portfolios, the portfolios people have told me they'd like me to be responsible for sport.
Yes.
Recovery and what was the other one? Broadcasting.
Okay, because given the size of the Labour caucus now, there's an opportunity for you to get a number of fairly meaty portfolios.
Yeah, and I think even though it was a short run, the exposure I got to ministers and various topics was really great. So I feel like I've got a handle of the of the issues. And the confidence of the leaders of the party still. So I'd like to think so. We campaign so strongly, it would be a shame for me to just go in and be mute.
Yeah. Now,
I think one of the other advantages, though, Andrew, is that what I'm hoping is that I will have the opportunity to get back around the communities. That's my priority before Christmas, is to get through Ikaroa-Rāwhiti again.
Just in terms of if you were in the governing party, it would be fairly simple to go to a minister and lobby for your constituents and that. How do you see, obviously National hasn't got the ministers in place yet, but do you back yourself to be able to do those sort of cross-party talks if there's a need in your constituency that you do want to get action on?
one of the things I'm good at is relationship building and meeting people as individuals. So, I mean, and that's what I've been doing throughout the campaign, and actually, you know, during this week, it's been the national MPs who saw me, you know, giving me a wink, giving me a pat on the back, and, you know, just happy to see me again. And like I said earlier, that's what we have to remember. And actually, Chloe Swarbrick gave us some really good advice. She goes, you know, obviously you're opposition. She goes, but before you go to the media and etc., maybe just have a talk offline. Just have a conversation. You'll be surprised you'll be surprised at how much you can achieve. And I mean, that's something I believe anyway.
Yeah. And is it all doom and gloom for Labour now, or are there some positives to come out of this?
Oh, there's always positives. You know, like I said, it's time to reset, refocus, and move forward. People have voted, you know, the best way I heard it described was, it's not necessarily that people, because we were well received everywhere we went. So it's not that people are anti-Labour. They still actually love the Labour Party, but they're exhausted and they just wanted to try something different. Yeah. So we'll let them have their something different for 3 years, and then they'll want to come back, I think. But that's our job now. Our job is to remain relevant to the people so that they will want a re-government again.
And just in terms of Hipkins' leadership, he's indicated that he would like to stay at least for short term and that. Do you think he should stay, or do you think he should move aside?
I think I mean, the reality is he's still our leader. You know, we lost the election, but he's still the leader. And constitutionally, we don't need to make that decision for 3 months. But at caucus, the outcome of the conversation was we have a leader.
Yeah. And now, just in terms of your life is changing now already. It's changed. I mean, you're going to be living away from your husband and from whānau and that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm slowly leaving denial and accepting that I will have to find somewhere to stay in Wellington. But I mean, that was, you know, it's become reality now, but it was always a consideration during the campaign, knowing that I really, actually, Andrew, I said to my husband, well, we don't live anywhere now, really, because even when I'm not at Parliament, I need to get around Ikaroa-Rāwhiti.
Yeah. He was quite supportive of you, and you had the Push for Kush a camper van that used to go with you, and as you say, 4 times around the electorate.
Yeah, he's been an amazing support, as has my whole immediate and extended family. You know, it's been really cool. The interest that my nieces have in politics now, and one of my nieces became the driver. One of my nieces was my PA. My sister was my campaign manager. So, you know, they mobilized swiftly as well. And I had a fantastic group of volunteers. So my call center made over 10,000 phone calls in that short time. So, you know, and it's people, you know, they're as much the product as I am. They're the ones who are actually out there on the ground converting the Push for Kush brand into votes. And yeah. It's been a ride. It's been awesome. And so, you know, now people are going, oh, I want to keep pushing for Kush.
You're in the campaign and having lots of ministers and Labour Party leaders come through. They always spoke very highly of you as someone who would sort of really get to grips with being an MP quite quickly. And I know you just put your foot in the door, but do you see yourself sort of really progressing up the Labour Party ranks and maybe into a leadership position at some point?
Well, you know, they've treated me like an MP throughout this campaign. You know, I'd go to openings of papakainga, you know, housing developments, and then the ministers would invite me to speak. So I would like to think so, because that is certainly the appetite that the people have throughout Ikaroa-Rāwhiti. And that's why I said it would be a shame if I went in after such a strong campaign and just sat there mute. But I don't think that would happen.
Now, you obviously a sort of highly productive person in that. And one thing I've learned over the years speaking to people, especially backbenchers, they go and they have to spend a lot of time sitting in Parliament and not really doing too much, just supporting the party and that. How are you going to adjust to that sort of maybe less fast-paced life, if you like?
Well, I think just the environment is fast-paced.
Yeah,
and it is, like I said, it's an opportunity to really get my head around how things work before I start being more vocal. And there is opportunity to keep myself busy. Hopefully, like you said, I will get some meaty portfolios to take care of.
And now, what are you going to take with you as your sort of driving motivation from Ikaroa-Rāwhiti into Parliament?
That's a good one. What I'll take with me is my commitment to being that MP that shows up and listens. I told people I would take their solutions to Parliament. As you pointed out, it's not ideal that it's going to be in opposition, because everyone who observes Parliament sees that often people disagree for the sake of disagreeing because it's coming from a different colour. So that really is going to be my challenge. But as we spoke about earlier, that's where that relationship building is going to be really important.
Yeah. And I know you've told me this before, but just once again, what are the main needs in your electorate that you are going to be focusing on?
Well, see, now maintaining our housing progress is going to be a real challenge. Cost of living is still a big one for whānau. So it'll be interesting to see if National's tax proposals do actually have an impact. And I just came from Supergrands this morning, and they said there was another cyclone on the way, and straight away, angst in the room. So, we still got to recover. Our roads are still atrocious, and naturally a concern that when roading was discussed during the campaign, the priority was like 4-lane highways in Tauranga, whereas we'd just be happy with a solid 2 lanes. So, yeah, I think just making sure too that the people through Ikaroa-Rāwhiti feel heard and feel represented.
What would you like to say to the people of Ikaroa-Rāwhiti?
Thank you so much for your confidence in me. Thank you for your manaaki as I came around. I only had positive experiences on the campaign, even from opposition parties. But thank you for your confidence. And whether you voted for me or not, I am your MP. And I'm here to serve you. And if you didn't vote whānau and you worried about representation, please ensure in 2026 you are enrolled and you vote. But overall, and I must mihi to Mika, who held the seat for 10 years, tēnā koe Mika, and to all the people out there who push for Kush, thank you very much. It's my turn to push for you.
Excellent. Cushla Tangaere-Manuel, thank you so much for your time. And all the best for your term as an MP.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew.